Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thoughts from the Bench podcast. This is episode 15. I'm Luke Jett, your host, and joined with me this week is Austin Guthrie. Austin, how you doing?
Pretty good, my man. How about you?
Oh, no complaints. Both of us just got off work, so we're gonna try to make this short and sweet. Kind of talk a little sports for you. We're gonna start out with the big news that happened last night. That was the San Antonio Spurs blowing out the Heat for the third straight game and taking home their fifth title since 1999 in the Tim Duncan era. I think that it was completely just a dominant performance by San Antonio until, well, starting out it wasn't when they got down 22 to 6 to Miami and everybody on Twitter was blowing up that oh man, Miami in 7, but then the Spurs just showed that they're a way better team. And that's pretty much how I watched the game. I knew the Spurs were going to come back.
Yeah, you had to know, like, especially with the momentum swing and the fact that the Miami Heat are a one-man team
Basically.
anymore. So,
Yeah. LeBron played great as usual. Who knows if that's going to be his last game as a Miami Heat member, but only time will tell. We'll wait for July 1st to see when free agency starts, if he's going to re up with Miami or go to Cleveland or somewhere else, I guess. Whoever has cap room.
uh, let's hope Cleveland.
Yeah, it sucked to have him in the Bulls division, but I mean, I think he'd make a lot of amends with everybody.
Agreed. We talked about the fact that Ray Allen just shot horribly.
Yep. They did. Yeah, pretty much the entire Miami Heat team just was bad. The last three games was just bad, and you can't really do anything about it. Just, I mean, LeBron tried his best, but I mean, the Spurs were just destined to win. They had redemption in their eyes, I guess. If ESPN,
I
and
definitely agree.
yeah,
I think that's something that's overlooked, and we've talked about a little bit about our secret love of LeBron. The fact that he set out
shh,
like
don't say
he set
anything.
out he set out to do one thing, and when he left Cleveland, and that was to win a ring. And I mean, he went on the team that he had the best chance of doing that. Sure, he did it in an awful way, and like the decision and all the drama that he brought into it. But I think he picked the right team to go to. I mean, obviously, you can't argue with them possibly completing a three-peat or even a four-peat should they have won
Yep,
both of those.
yep,
So I think that there's a little bit of like, you respect the fact that he wants to win it all. So
yep. And I think 4 years ago or even 3 years ago, if we're having this conversation, we're getting like booted out of Illinois. But if
um,
you're Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh, um, why would you opt out of your deal? You're gonna get paid $22 million each. I
Dwayne
don't.
Wade doesn't. Dwayne Wade, I think, will retire. He's played his whole career there. Was drafted by them in 2003. Um, I can't see him playing for another team. He already has. Not many people know this. Not many Heat fans know this since they joined in like 2008. He actually won a title with Shaq before LeBron got there.
Correct.
Um, just reminding all you Heat fans out there. So I don't think that he goes anywhere. I think that he stays there. He's going to make just way too much money for his ability. Toppling Drake in a wheelchair type ability.
Yeah,
Um,
basically.
I don't know about Chris Bosh. I don't know what the market is for him. He has shown that he's really improved as far as like his outside shooting and his 3-point shooting. But then he comes into the finals and he can't hit a thing. So I don't. Then his defense. Oh man, I couldn't tell if I was watching him or Carlos Boozer out there.
Yeah, it was pretty horrendous. Tim Duncan and Boris Diaw just destroyed him. And
Um,
but I think more along the lines. I don't know if there's a market for Chris Bosh, but do you think Chris Bosh could make 40+ million dollars in the next 2 years if he doesn't stay in Miami? There's no way, right?
I no, it would be insane.
So I think Wade and Bosh are gonna opt in. It's just a matter of whether LeBron's going to stay or if they're all going to take a pay cut to try to lure Melo down to Miami. It's just a matter of time. But I think Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade will both stay in Miami. Just
I
not
agree.
not based on if there's a market there. I just think that they're not going to get a deal like
Yeah.
that anywhere else.
And I don't even think that they're gonna get a deal anywhere close to that. Like you talked about the amount of money that Bosch is going to be making, and I don't think there's a team that could put up half that amount,
Exactly.
or that would want him for that half that amount. Like it's just
Yeah.
Miami Heat can keep him. Who was it? Was it? I want to say it was Birdman already opted out.
Did he?
I believe we got a notification by
Oh,
Bleacher Report.
I don't know, but
Um,
they're
Not that it really matters. He's
yeah,
kind of the forgotten one.
pretty much. I think if everybody, the only person that is under contract for sure next year for the Miami Heat is Norris Cole. There,
Woohoo!
there's a bunch of player options and team options, but the only person that is set in stone to be on the Miami Heat roster next year is
Watch
Norris
them.
Cole.
Watch them trade him.
Yeah, but we're
That'd be
gonna
nuts.
we're gonna switch from the Miami Heat to the better team in the Eastern Conference next year, hopefully, the Chicago Bulls, and hopefully luring
Woohoo!
either Carmelo Anthony or Kevin Love to Chicago. What who would you rather have, and what would you give up for each of these players?
I was actually about to ask you this question via text earlier today. If I had to pick in between the two, I think it would depend first on what all I'm giving up. But if you're gonna say you get them both same price or same, you lose the same amount. I would. I'd love to say Carmelo, but I think that I have to go with Kevin Love just because he's younger, and I feel like he's more of a person that you could build a team around. And you have him and Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, and that's a solid young core.
Yeah, that is
So I think
well pending how or Derrick Rose comes back.
Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
But I think even like as much as I dislike Derrick Rose for his whole being a baby, and he is a baby. I'm sorry, there's no other way of putting it. Um, I think that he's still going to come back. He's going to at least be average. At like worst, he comes back and he's just an average point guard. He's a Kurt Heinrich type numbers light, and that's going to be good enough if we did either Melo or Love to do with Noah, who's just has been improving like crazy. And I actually saw somewhere, and I tagged you on this, and you didn't say anything on Facebook about us, the possibility of us both getting Melo and Love.
We would have to.
Basically trading away the whole entire rest of our team minus Noah and Rose.
It would have to be like Dunleavy, Gibson, Butler, the rights to Amiricic, and like 4 first round
That's
picks or
my only
something.
problem with having Love is that I have high hopes for Mirotic. So and if we sign Love, it's kind of like, well, we don't have like, sure we have a backup power forward spot, but
Yeah, I can't see any reason Amiricic would come over this year if we get Melo or Love, just based on the money factor.
how much is he making over in is it Europe? I think.
Well, he's not making money there. It's what he's gonna want over here. It's gonna be
Oh,
like
okay.
7.5, 8 million starting, and I don't know if the Bulls are willing to pay that, especially for a player who's not proven.
I
So
wish we could watch him.
yeah, he won the Spanish League MVP the last 2 years or something like that. I don't know. He averaged like 14 a game,
Jeez.
but who knows? It's gonna be interesting. But more
Definitely agree.
news of the offseason for another Chicago team that plays at the United Center. The Blackhawks have told center Michael Hanzus that they are parting ways with him. Now, Austin and I kind of speculated this on the last podcast episode 14. If you want to go download it, you probably should. And we talked about retaining Ben Smith and Antti Ranta. And I tweeted Mark Lazarus, the great Sun Times writer for the Blackhawks. And if you're not following on Twitter, you really need to be. If you're
Agreed.
if you're a Blackhawks fan, he is just great. And I asked him if the chances that Ben Smith is back, and he said that Stan Bowman fully expects him to be back. So that's great news. Probably I'm more happy for myself than I am for the Blackhawks, but that's fine by me.
I think Luke might be just as happy that Mark replied to him as he is finding out that Ben Smith is hopefully going to be back.
Yeah, both. I love Mark too. He's great.
um, as far as I would assume that if they don't sign Hans Booth, then I would think that means they signed Smith and they sent Ronta out at least a decent contract.
Yeah.
I think that Ronta could get better elsewhere, but I don't know how much like the city means to him or how much he wants to win a championship. So
Yeah, if you're willing to go to a starting position over, I mean, sitting on the bench, you never really know what with injuries and stuff that could come up.
yeah,
But basically, I'm just waiting for Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves to get signed. It's pretty much just a waiting game. It's gonna happen inevitably, but we're just waiting for that to happen.
agreed. It'll be interesting to see what type of numbers they get, and also I think it'll be interesting to see as far as like not where they compare against the lead, but where they compare against each other almost. Like
Yeah,
who you're talking about a captain, and you're talking about I don't know if I want to over exaggerate, but I'd say definitely a top three goal scorer in the league.
yeah,
So
probably.
I
Yeah,
think it's definitely going to be showing who the Hawks value more. Not that you have to pick one or the other,
yeah.
but
It,
interesting none the least.
it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Bears, or not the Bears, the Blackhawks and the Bulls, both of them. Just based on the cap room, they got talent coming back, and they got talent on the market that they can go get. And it's going to be very interesting and fun to be associated with these teams and just paying attention. It's going to be great.
I
Hopefully.
agree.
Do you think, actually, I'm just thinking about this. Do you think that the Kings and the Hawks are the class of the NHL right now?
Well, when you think about it, there's not. I mean, if you were to throw other teams in there, you'd probably throw the Bruins in there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was the other team I was contemplating, but
I don't know, and I have a hatred of the Bruins, so
you hate
more than
everybody.
any other team. I know. I just I don't like the whole Boston Strong.
He's a terrorist.
Oh, it's just over exaggerated. I don't know.
Antti Ranta's ugly, which he is.
I definitely think that those three are. I'd say that the top three, and if you're definitely doing the Western Conference, most definitely the Kings and the Hawks. And I think that they're going to be battling out. I'd say the next 2 3 years, much like the Pacers and Heat.
Yeah,
So
they're all young, like young. They got young players, and I mean, it's gonna be fun. I think. I think.
I think they really mirror each other like really well. When you look at it, the things that Dustin Brown does, the things that Jonathan Tays does, both as captains.
Yeah.
You got Cody and Kane. You got Williams and I don't know Keith maybe.
I don't
I
know.
don't know who you throw him against, but those top two especially, there's just so much similarity. They both, I think that they match well and both incredible goalies.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you have
I
any
actually
doubt?
saw a what you know.
No, you go.
I actually saw a debate earlier today on the best goalie in the league and who is in like the top class.
Yeah.
And for the majority of the conversation, it was Lundqvist, Price, and Quick.
Mhm.
And I thought that was a little bit disrespectful to not include Crawford in there. So
Yeah.
I think after after this like Stanley Cup run, you have to at least like I think you have to at least say his name.
I agree. And I was gonna say, is is there any amount of money you would put on the Kings and Hawks not to be in the Western Conference Finals next year?
Petty maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't go anything crazy because I fully expect that to be that way, and I hope that I don't curse us by saying that. I'm knocking on wood, Chicago. So,
The only
um,
the only thing I would guess is, oh man, wow, just going through my Twitter feed and it's all Clint Dempsey. Clint Dempsey just scored 32 seconds in against Ghana.
jeez.
But back to what I was gonna say. Um, the only way they can't is I feel like if they're in the same bracket, I feel like they're gonna meet up sometime. It might not be the Western Conference Finals, but they're gonna meet up sometime.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think those two. Maybe they won't meet up in the conference, but I think those two teams will be playing for the Stanley Cup the next, I'd say, 2 years.
I agree.
I bet in 2 years. Um, I hope that's longer than that.
Hmm.
I'll
They're
take
fun. They're fun games to
else.
watch, really.
Yeah, I was talking earlier. I have my own little other podcast, and I was talking about how I had to work the following day of the Rangers Kings the game 5 when they went into double overtime, and I had worked at 6 a.m. and that's when I still stayed up to watch because it was that intense. And I don't have a fandom. I didn't care who won the
Oh
Rangers or
God,
the Kings,
those two
but
overtime periods were just it
they're
was
just
great.
intense. Like my team wasn't even in there enough. I was like, oh my, I'm getting so into it. It's just that's when you know it's great hockey.
Hmm. I feel
And
like
hats off to Lundqvist as well.
yep,
He made some just crazy goals. That being said, Quick did as well, but I think that people look at the series, they're gonna say, oh, Lundqvist let up the like final goal.
yeah,
No, Lundqvist played, I'd say, a top 5 goalie performance that probably I've ever seen
yep.
in that game. So,
Um, I'm trying to think what I was gonna say. There's no doubt in my mind that the Hawks would have won in five in the Western
oh
Conference
yeah.
Finals. There's no doubt in my mind. Basically, the
Are you
West,
talking wait in the Stanley Cup if we had won?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think it would have been in the same fashion,
no,
but I definitely more in the same like order. But I definitely think the Hawks would have managed to get it done in 5.
I agree. So we're gonna switch into our final thoughts here. Austin, you got anything?
I hope I don't steal yours. Quad Leonard,
No, you didn't.
MVP.
But that's a
Oh,
good one.
okay.
We forgot to talk about
MVP
him.
yesterday, and something I hope that everyone else is starting to pick up on is that his dad was actually, I don't want to give out false stats, was killed 5 years ago,
Six. I think I saw six.
6 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, and it was just awesome that he won the MVP of the finals on Father's Day, which I just thought that was so like fitting. He played one hell of a series. You can't even say that they just threw it at him because of that situation.
No,
I think he definitely was the best player in the series. So,
he played great. Yep. Yep.
that's my final thoughts.
All right. I got two
Also,
things.
I'll go. Oh, one last one.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do a shout out to my team Germany for pulling off the 4-0 victory today.
All right. And you know, USA won World War II, so we already got one on you. So, but I got two final things. One of them is I want to give a shout out to the Spurs and their big three. They played great. They played like they were timeless, and they just played fantastic. Timmy D, Manu, Tony Parker really turned it on at the end, and it was just the Spurs just have a great brand of basketball to watch, and it's just so fun to watch them play when they're hitting on all cylinders. Patting Mills was
My
awesome last night.
quick question before you move on to your second one. Do you, and I've been talking to this, I feel like as Chicago fans, we have a glorified sense of our Chicago teams. Where do you rate them as far as best trios of all time?
Well, you'd have to go to the Magic Kareem and that other guy. I can't remember his name. I don't remember his name. I always think it's James Worthy, but it's not James Worthy. It's somebody else. Um, I mean, Scotty, Michael, and Dennis were great their 3 years, but I mean that's five titles. They're brilliant. All three of them were great.
See, I
Hey,
think, and I got into this argument on a Chicago page, which, by the way, just a terrible idea. I don't know why. I
yeah.
think that someone had baited me into it, but I think that I would say that the Spurs have the best trio ever,
Hmm.
and I think that the, I think that I even put the Heat third, or not the Heat. Oh, I'm sorry, that was dumb. The Bulls third, and I would put Magic and Hakeem in that.
I mean Kareem.
Whoever. Kareem. Did I say Hakeem? I meant
Yeah,
Kareem.
that would have
As
been one
well
hell of
as
a big
this
three,
other
though.
guy that I also, not, and I had no idea what the heck his name is, but those two alone
Yeah,
make up a trio.
yeah. That would have been one hell of a
Um,
big three with Hakeem, Kareem, and Magic.
yeah, that would have been that would have been nuts. I think that the thing that hurts the Bulls in that category is that I just think that Rodman is overrated overall as a player.
Ooh,
I don't think that he was terrible, but I think that there's too much hype into his like he was a crazy, just like monsterish like person overall.
he's the best rebounder to ever play, or one of the
I
best.
don't know.
Probably the best in
I'd
the
say
'90s.
I would agree that he's one of the best, but I don't know. I think that his lack of scoring will definitely hurt him
All right. Well, my second thought is
when comparing him to the other three. But continue on.
okay. My second thought is I love teams that are active on Twitter. I think it's just fun. Like the LA Kings win at Twitter.
The LA team. Yep.
I don't like the Kings, but they win at Twitter. They win. And I wish all pro sports teams were like that. Not just tweeting game scores, live stuff, live quotes. I want like just fun. I think it's fun for the game. Like I remember when Yoenis Cespedes made that throw, the Angels Twitter account tweeted like, "Yeah, okay, okay, Cespedes, we know you have an arm," or something like that. Like that's fun. I think it's fun.
I think that it's fun as well. I'll never forget there was sometime during this last season the Canucks page,
Oh yeah.
huge leader of the Vancouver Canucks. They had lost. I want to say it was like 9-2 or something like that. They just got destroyed in California, and their page was hilarious. And I gave them a follow, and I hate their team,
Hmm.
but their Twitter was just it was too funny not to at that point. So, but yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that this may be stemming off of the whole MLB Taylor Swift remix.
God, that was great.
If you guys
Oh, that was
haven't seen
great.
that, both me and Luke have retweeted it. It's a bunch of MLB teams basically remixing different Taylor Swift songs.
That was great. That was fantastic. All
Wish
right.
that the White Sox or Cubs would have participated, but they didn't,
No,
sadly.
the Cubs have probably the most boring Twitter account in the MLB.
New job for you.
Yeah, I know. I would get paid to do something in Twitter because it's ridiculous. It's so bad. But all right, that's gonna wrap up the 15th edition of the Thoughts from the Bench podcast. Favorite number 15s? I was just thinking about them, trying to right now.
Tim Tebow.
Well,
Woo!
trying to keep it Chicago based, but Darwin
I don't
Barney,
know any.
it's garbage. Gordon Beckham's garbage unless he plays the Cubs. Um,
Amen to that one.
John Lucas the third. Can we give it to John Lucas the third?
The like 3 foot tall guy that somehow put up a shot against LeBron. I will never understand the physics behind.
All right, all right. We're giving it to John Lucas the third. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's a fair one.
Okay. All right. We'll be back either later this week or next week with another edition. For Austin, I'm Luke. That was the 15th edition of the Thoughts from the Bench podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at ShyBenchThought. You can like us on Facebook and download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or listen to it at YouTube. Thank you and have a good week.